Hi guys and gals, today we're gonna talk about triceps. I already have a video about triceps on my YouTube channel, but this video is gonna be dedicated to the cable. We're not gonna go through all the physiology and anatomy details we went through in that video, although we're gonna cover a few of them, but we're not gonna go through the details. But we're just gonna cover 5 main things that you can play with when you're doing the tricep exercises with the cable. Without further ado, what are those 5 things you can play with? First one, how far from the machine you are. So if you stand close to the machine or if you go back. First one. Second one, where do you put the pin? Is it down or you bring it up? Third one, the level of external and internal rotation of the shoulder. So are you doing the exercise like this or like this? Fourth one, the level of shoulder flexion and extension. Are you doing the exercise like this or like this? And 5, you're gonna understand what difference it makes when you supinate your hand and pronate your hand. Without further ado, let's go to the first one. So the first one and the second one kind of work with each other. So you can, when I go through the details, you're going to understand how they work with each other. In general, when you come close to the machine compared to when you go back, there is not that much of a difference if the pin is low. So, for example, if the pin is here, if I do the exercise from here compared to back here, there is not going to be that much of a difference. The reason is this was in the most contracted form. This was kind of perpendicular to my arm. It doesn't matter if I go back or come forward. Just make sure that you can cover the full range of motion for this exercise. So if you come too much close, you see, I still have a little bit more left to come forward. So make sure you just go back in the position you're comfortable with, but it's not the same when the pin goes up. You see, now the pin is up. If I do the exercise from here, it's gonna be different compared to all the way back here. When I come forward, when I now do the exercise, when it comes to cables, when the cable is perpendicular to your arm, you're gonna have the most resistance. So as you can see, when I bring it down, here kind of is the not that much perpendicular, but a little bit angled. So because of this angle, it's gonna be a little bit easier for me when I go all the way down. But when I come a little bit higher, now it's vertical. So the most resistance I have with the cable in this exercise, which I'm standing here, is gonna be here. But it's not gonna be the same if I go back. You see, I didn't change my arm, but the degree changed. It's not vertical anymore. If I want to have the most resistance, I have to bring it a little bit back. Now it's kind of vertical, but still I have a little bit more room. But now, as you can see, it changed. So you can play with the distance to play with different type of fibers. Now, I'm not talking about type 2, type 1. No, I'm just talking about different fibers inside your muscle. It's gonna be a new challenge for your muscle. So make sure you change it from time to time. Again, if this is down, it's not going to be that much of a difference. But when you go up, the degree changes. So make sure you consider that. So we kind of covered what difference it makes where you stand, whether close or far. We kind of covered what difference it makes where you put the pin as well. But just to go through the details, I have to talk a little bit about the anatomy as well. I'm just going to go through it fast. If you want to know about it in more detail, just check that video that I already have on my YouTube. But just to go through it fast, the tricep has 3 heads. The lateral head, which is from the side here, the long head, which is all the way up here, and the medial head, which is the bump in here. Again, long, lateral, medial. When you bring this up, again, you have to think of the angle it has compared to your arm. The most resistance I can feel right now is here. So not all the way back, here. So what it means is that the lateral head needs to do more work. What is the reason? For you to understand the reason, we have to bring it down and go through the anatomy again. So, as I mentioned, angle. This is the part that I feel the most resistance. So when my elbow is fully extended, so my arm is fully straight, I feel the most resistance. But the resistance in this case is more in the inside of my tricep. So the long head and the medial head feel a lot more activated. The reason is the long head of the tricep, as mentioned in that video, does 3 things. Adduction of the arm, extension of the shoulder, and also, like other 2 heads, extension of the elbow. So bringing the arm back, bringing the arm again back is the extension of the shoulder, and bringing the arm closer to yourself, adducting the arm. But the medial and the lateral just extend the elbow. Now, the medial head is really the head that's responsible for locking the arm up, all the way. So when you come down from kind of this degree, when you go down, so the last few degrees, the medial head is really activated. If you look at people who are doing heavy lifting, so power lifters who are just training for a strength, they usually have really thick medial part, the medial head. The reason is they get their scores by fully locking themselves. So they really need to be strong on the last few degrees. So because of that, their medial head is really strong. Anyway, we were talking about the cable. When you are in this position with this degree, with this level of pin, the hardest part again is gonna be when you fully lock the elbow. So again, because you have to resist the cable, not bringing your arm forward, you have to extend your shoulder. So again, extension of the shoulder was the responsibility of the long head. Also locking the elbow, responsibility of the medial head. So the lateral head is resting a little bit more. And again, conversely, when you go up, because these 2 are a little bit more relaxed because of the angle, the lateral head tends to do more job. So we covered 2 things. The stance, up and down. Let's talk about the level of external and internal rotation of the shoulder. So this is internal rotation, this is external rotation. Again, it comes to the 3 heads of the tricep. Now we consider something in between, but the things that we've already covered apply here as well to some degree. But you've got to consider these differences that I'm going to mention as well. When you do the tricep extension with the internal rotation degree, so your arm is closer to your body, again, you're gonna feel more in the lateral head. And conversely, if you just come a little bit inside, or let me show it from this side, you're gonna feel it more in the long head. The reason is you're just bringing your arm closer to your body, so it is kind of like an adduction of the arm. So again, adduction, long head is gonna be activated more. Now let's talk about the fourth factor, the level of shoulder flexion extension. So how you start the exercise? Do you do the exercise like this, or you do the exercise like this? This is pretty much simple. When you bring your elbow a little bit forward and do the exercise, you're gonna use a little bit more from the long head. The reason is you're just freeing up the muscle, so it doesn't have that curvature when it goes up, because as mentioned, it comes and crosses the shoulder a little bit. So because of that, when you bring your elbow a little bit higher, it's gonna be easier for the long head to be activated. Just make sure you do not use your elbow a lot. So when you are doing the exercise, make sure the elbow doesn't move as well. Although the long head helps in bringing the elbow back or shoulder extension, but there are a lot of other muscles like infraspinatus, teres major, and your lats that just work in shoulder extension. So the tricep, the long head of the tricep is going to be activated a lot less. Those muscles in the back are going to be activated more. So if you're just training your tricep, just try to keep your elbow and move the hand. But make sure when the elbow comes forward, either bend yourself or bring this higher, because you want to have a good range of motion. You see, without changing the pin, if I do the exercise now, the range of motion is a lot more compared to this. So for me to do this exercise with the elbow that's a little bit in front, I have to bend myself, so the range of motion is better. Now last but not least, the supination or pronation of the hand. Now you might say that what difference it makes if I pronate or supinate. I'm just gonna bring the arm down, so it's gonna be from the elbow, not from the hand. What's the difference? You are right, the tendons of the tricep come and cross the elbow, and it's not that much related to the radius and ulnar bones in your arm. But you've got to consider another thing. When you supinate your hand, you're gonna be able to do this exercise with your elbow closer to your body. But when you pronate, it's just a little bit hard to keep the elbow to your body. It's just not comfortable for you. And as mentioned from the things that we talked about the anatomy and the three heads, you're gonna understand that when you are supinated, because the elbow is closer to your body, the long head is gonna be more activated because it's more adducted. And conversely, when you pronate, because the elbow gets a little bit close, distance from the body, the lateral head is gonna be activated more. Just make sure that you supinate and pronate in a range that's comfortable for you. Because some of the variations, you can just only supinate or pronate, or just hold your hand neutral. For example, if you do the exercise with a level angle of external rotation, so this was internal rotation, this was external rotation. I cannot do this exercise with a pronated hand and just bring it down. It just feels awkward. So it's not what my body prefers. Physiologically, it's not comfortable for me. So just make sure you understand your body, understand your flexibility, and listen to your body. If something feels uncomfortable, it's not good for you.